earlier, but I was going through some things and I noticed that there were some discrepancies in some of the information about Jayden, his mother, and his stepfather. But before we get into that, we've covered the case of the Texas judge and sheriff. There was an altercation. The sheriff went into the judge's chambers, fired some rounds. He murdered the judge. This is a big thing to do with the whole courts and stuff like that. So, are we... Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Sorry, guys. I'm having technical issues on this live. I'm not quite sure why I'm having technical issues, but I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and play this for you, and then we're going to jump right into Jayden Spicer's thing, because we got... who's the stepfather here? Okay? And you're going to understand why I'm asking that, because something is not adding up at all when it comes to Jayden Spicer's stepfather. And we're going to get to that in just a second. And it was just revealed, and I'm like, wait a minute. We've been talking about Josh. He was reported in some articles. He was reported as the children's stepfather. And I don't know if that's the case. So stay with me. Here we're going to go through this information here. There's going to be a court case with the Kentucky sheriff.
Former Letcher County Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. Video shows Steins shooting Letcher District Judge Kevin Mullins inside Mullins' chambers last September. Steins was later indicted for murder. His defense filed a motion to dismiss the indictment and a motion for bond. Both will come up during that hearing set for tomorrow afternoon at 1. We'll be carrying that hearing live on WKYT.com and inside the WKYT News app.
Okay, so that's really all I wanted to tell you guys with Mickey Stein. But here is really why we're here, is this article right here. So this is, as you guys know, I have been updating. Let me get my chat box so I can get that thing out of here. It's driving me nuts. Hold on a second. Oops, wrong one. Hopefully that moves the white box, makes it a little bit smaller. That was above my head. So we've been hearing about the stepfather, and everybody's been wanting to know why the stepfather hasn't been charged. It's because who we've been told that the stepfather is, from my understanding, is not the stepfather. Who's the stepfather? Is his name Josh or is his name Tommy? Because we've been hearing a lot about Josh Gross, and we've been told that Josh Gross is the children's stepfather. Well, be prepared to be shocked.
Woman is charged with manslaughter, accused of killing her 10-year-old son, Jayden Spicer. But court records show this isn't her first run-in with the law.
Kylie Hill has been looking into Felicia Gross's past and uncovered a criminal history that spans a decade.
Felicia Gross's trouble with the law didn't start with this case. It goes back years. Most recently, she's been charged in the death of her 10-year-old son, Jayden Spicer. Police say Gross admitted to giving him sleeping medication, then burying his body in a wooded area of Breathitt County. But this isn't the first time she's been in trouble. Back in 2017, then known as Felicia Spicer, she was convicted of endangering the welfare of a minor from a 2015 case. She served a year behind bars. Part of her release included random drug tests and following plans set by Child Protective Services.
Thank you so much, Lisa B. Always. But we're getting through this. The bombshell is going to be closer to the end of this article.
Records also show that as far back as 2013, another woman, Shirley F. Johnson, filed for child support from Spicer. It's unclear if Jayden was included in that petition. The last child support case closed in 2020. Johnson died earlier this year, and that's presumably when Gross got custody of Jayden again. His obituary says Johnson lovingly raised him until her passing in May. Also in 2020, Gross was convicted of possession of marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and selling a firearm to a convicted felon. She was sentenced to another year in jail.
I feel like if she wasn't just sentenced to these 1 years in jail for these crimes, that she might have actually, could have possibly been deterred a little bit more.
Court documents show she recently filed for divorce from her husband, who's been in jail since 2022 after a second-degree strangulation.
Did you guys hear that? She has filed. I'm gonna rewind it. She filed for divorce because her husband has been in jail since 2022. And if you look right up there, it says Tommy Daniel Lee Gross. So who the F is Josh Gross? That everybody's been saying is the stepfather. Yeah, she filed for divorce. It doesn't say a whole lot. I don't have the documents. But he either strangled her or strangled one of the kids. And he's been in jail ever since 2022. He's still in jail. Tommy Daniel Lee Gross. So I'm starting to think everybody's saying Josh is their stepdad. But he's actually the brother. Is she fooling around with the brother? Or was he just there helping her? And you gotta ask this day and age. You gotta ask this day and age. Did you guys hear that? We're gonna go back just a few moments. This is where my confusion lies. Because we've been talking, and I had to go back, and I'm like, wait a minute. I've been told the beginning, Josh Gross is the stepfather. So you can imagine my surprise when I'm reading a Tommy Daniel Lee Gross as the husband. What does it say? We need a family tree. I know, we need a family tree. Well, it's about as convoluted as that weirdness with Austin Drummond. You know? Sorry, not sorry. It's just, who's who. So let's go back and listen to this again. Open your ears because it's going to come up very quickly.
She was sentenced to another year in jail. Court documents show she recently filed for divorce from her husband, who's been in jail since 2022 after a second-degree strangulation conviction.
Second-degree strangulation conviction. So stepdaddy, he's in jail. So now the question asked is, how is she affording where these kids are living? Why didn't she have a vehicle, or excuse me, why didn't she have a phone to call law enforcement? Everybody was saying it's because her boyfriend or her husband didn't trust her with the phone. Well, her husband is in jail from a 2022 strangulation charge and conviction. So, what now? Let's see if I can do this. I don't know why it won't let me do that. It's still driving me nuts. I can't show the comments. I'll have to fix that. I just don't have time to do it today. I don't even have time to do this today. But I wanted to go over. So anyways, what I did when I heard this and I read that, I'm like, wait a minute. I've been listening to Josh. Everybody's been talking about Josh Gross being the step-parent. We're all wondering why Josh isn't in jail with his wife. We've been asking all these questions. It's because the stepfather's name is Tommy Daniel Lee Gross, and he is in jail. And she's filing for divorce from him. So who's staying with her at the trailer? Was she the only one? Is she the only adult at the trailer? Does she work? Where are the kids going? How is she supporting her lifestyle? What is she doing inside that home that nobody knows about? But so that we're all clear, Josh is not the husband. Josh playing house with Felicia. Yeah, maybe Lisa B. always. Maybe. The story keeps getting strange. Yes! Yes! Let's keep listening.
In the case of her son, Gross has been charged with second-degree manslaughter, falsely reporting an incident, tampering with physical evidence, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with a witness. She was lodged in the Kentucky River Regional Jail.
So we already know that. So I ended up going back and forth and, trying to find where, the statement came from, because I'm like, I know Josh is in here somewhere. And I think it is it here? One of these, nope, not this one. Not that one. This one. Try to find, nope, not in that one. Let's see if it's in this one. I found it. Josh. One of my articles has Josh in it. I don't know why it's not pulling up. There it is. There it is. Oh, no, that's Josh Turner. This must be a different one. Which one's this one about? The federal agents. No, that's not it. That's probably why that pulled in. But I went back to these, and I don't know. There it is. It is on this one right here. Right there. Jayden Spicer was reported missing by Felicia and Josh Gross on August 6th. Officials combed the area near his home on Bull Branch Road. And if you guys remember, we had, could you guys see that? Am I heading away? Why is it not? Ah, that's why. Is that why? I don't know why it's not showing me through the stuff. But either way, what is going on here is that we have a man by the name of Josh Gross. I have to assume he's related to Tommy Daniel Lee Gross. Okay? Felicia Gross, Josh Gross. Maybe that's why they just assumed that it was the stepfather. So my question is, was Josh there at the time? If his brother wasn't, maybe he was in the home. Does he know more than he's saying? Or did she call him in a panic? And say, hey, my son's missing. I need you to come over and help me. But we had those YouTubers. They're from a historical. I don't know. They're older. You can tell by their voice. I haven't seen their faces, but you can tell by the voice. And they went there and they were hollering to a guy that was outside, and they said they believed Felicia was out there with him or with them. And they recorded and basically said, we're just out here searching. I'm hoping that you guys won't mind. And they said no. But there was a man out there with her. So clearly it's not Tommy. It's not the stepfather. Is he an uncle? Or is he the just dad type of brother? My brother's in jail. Might as well play house until it, hold the fort down until my brother gets out. And as disgusting as this sounds, I get it. But truth is stranger than fiction. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, Fred and Sheila McCoy. That's it. That's it, Lisa B. Always. That's the name. Hatfields and McCoys. Somebody else definitely helped her, in my opinion. It's possible. It's possible. And seeing his brother in jail, and seeing her and knowing that she's not doing well. Everybody said she hadn't been in trouble in a decade. Well, that was a big fat lie, because I'm sorry, 2020 was only 5 years ago, not a decade ago. And the great-grandmother has had this child since, it appears, since this child was just about born, because they had paperwork going back to 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. When was it? 2016? Did she put the welfare of her child at risk? Those charges, I can't remember when they said those were. We'll go back and cover this. Anyways, this wasn't meant to be a very long live. Share this around, because this is critical information. Everybody's calling Josh the stepfather. He is not the stepfather. We have confirmed information here. We're showing the divorce petition with Felicia's name and Tommy Daniel Lee Gross. They're getting a divorce. So who's Josh? Josh is not the stepfather. He might be the uncle, or he might be just somebody coincidentally with the same last name that she's now moved into her house. Or it could be his brother, cousin, or God knows who else that she's decided to shack up with. She doesn't seem like she has the most loyal bone in her body, you know? Sorry, not sorry. But we have to get it right. Josh Gross is not, I repeat, is not the kid's stepfather. But the question is, was he there? And I have a funny feeling we're going to find out she called him before she called police. And that's the reason why the significant other doesn't know what happened to that child, because the only adult in that house was the mother. We thought there were 2 adults in that trailer. There were not. It appears to only have been her, much like the Sebastian Rogers case. Just saying. The only difference is there were other children inside that home when this happened. So now we have no third-party independent people outside of the children, which have been led astray by their mother, saying what could have possibly happened inside that home. She was alone, guys. That means those vehicles out front, everybody keeps saying she doesn't have wheels. Well, if there's no dude there, there were cars there. And I have to assume one of them was hers because there was only 2. And I have to think that Josh has one of them and one of them is hers. So she did have transportation. She didn't drive by herself. And those are full-size SUVs. Older, but full-size SUVs. So she does have transportation. It may not be the best transportation, but she has transportation. I work for a very well-to-do Italian couple. They are a first cousin, which is legal in Italy. I find that disturbing. I'm sorry. It's just disturbing. And the reason why they do it is for greed. They want to keep the money, their family wealth, in the family. So they do things as barbaric as marrying first cousins. It's all over money. Can you imagine being forced to marry your first cousin to not have to split your inheritance with another family? Like, I find that totally disturbing. Anyways, I digress. All right, guys, that's all I really have for you guys today. Please pass this around, but make sure you guys are in those chats and start explaining this to people. Let you guys know. You heard it. Well, you didn't hear it from me first. We actually heard it from the news first, but we need to be talking about it. So, Josh is not the stepfather. God bless.